Did you know that an email newsletter sold for $75 million dollars and that email marketing returns $36 to $70 or more for every $1 spent? That's doing a lot better than 401ks and IRAs, I bet. But anyway, those are some of the reasons why I am looking at newsletters and email lists as a pretty significant source for anything that I'm building for the future. And today I'm going to show you why building an email list in your 50s or in your 40s, you can start never too early to start, can become one of the most valuable assets for your next chapter. But first, who am I? My name is Corey Kaler, and I am 53 years old, and I'm building a business in public right here on YouTube and sharing all the information with you. Basically betting on myself, right? I started doing this back in 2013. I've had, a couple different businesses over that time. And now I want to share it with everybody. And I want to build another business and more income streams that I don't have to necessarily retire from. Like, I just want to like what I'm doing until I go. So if you're somebody that is thinking that you want to bet on yourself and you want to, you know, maybe not have to retire or build something that kind of makes it optional, make sure that you subscribe and stick around and watch the rest of this video. So let's take a look at what we have here. I'm going to share my screen with you and we'll kind of just try to go through this right now. I got something to follow along with. All right, here we go. So email list is a retirement asset. First of all, the problem, right? Old, outdated retirement model, wait till you're 65, and then just go golfing, right? That's kind of broken. Maybe some people will still want to do that, but it's not necessarily reality anymore. The markets are unstable. This isn't nothing new either. Back in 2007 and 8, I remember some of the guys that I worked with that were older. They were just ready to retire within a year, and basically the stock market tanked, and they had to work longer because their 401ks were on the toilet. So that's a reality these days. So we just want to have more income streams, right? Jobs are disappearing, AI, that kind of stuff. We won't go into that. I've got that, talking about that in other videos and podcasts. And besides, we want freedom. We want flexibility, not necessarily the old playbook. And we want to have meaning, right? You don't want to just get to like the end date and then just sit around and watch Netflix series all day. I mean, maybe you do, but that doesn't feel like the right way to live, right? So anyway, so some good case studies, just to kind of throw it out there, just to show you the potential of email marketing. There was a newsletter called The Morning Brew. $75 million is what they ended up selling it for. There's another one called The Hustle. They generate about $15 million a year. There's a dude named Kevin Van Trump. I think I'm missing a P there. He has an agricultural newsletter and he's making $18 million a year. I mean, that's just with the newsletter. He's just sending out, hit and publish on a newsletter, and he's getting $18 million a year. There's this one's kind of a cool one. A lot of these popping up these days. Not a lot of newspapers out there in the local communities anymore. So there's one called Nantown Scoop in Annapolis, Maryland, and they're generating $200,000 a year. I mean, that's a pretty cool. That's very doable, especially if you don't have any other newspaper in your area, city or whatever. Ben Collins, he made six figures, or he is making six figures with a Google Sheets newsletter. He's just talking about Google Sheets. I mean, that's pretty insane. And then there's me. I'm not making anywhere near these here, but just in the last year, I'm starting to kind of, we're getting a trickle of income coming in, right? This is some small ad revenue for the ads that I've had in my newsletter. This here is for some affiliate income. And then this $800 is for a project that I did for somebody, because somebody saw that, hey man, you do a newsletter and like, you want to build one for me? I'm like, sure. So I gave them actually a really good deal on creating their newsletter for them. So those are some real case studies, like of how you can earn real income with newsletter. And why does email win? Why is this such a big deal? Well, the first thing is ownership, right? You control it. There's a lot of people out there that are building, big YouTube channels. They're building big followings on LinkedIn, on Facebook, Twitter, whatever, you name it. And that's great. And you got a great audience, but you don't necessarily own it. The algorithms do, right? So you're at the whim of the platform that you're on, right? You're building on rented land. But when you have an email from somebody, and even today, some people have like texts and SMS and phone numbers and all that kind of stuff. You have something that you can kind of download and keep. So if something changes somewhere, you still have a way to communicate with the people that are in your audience, especially the ones that are like more interested in what you have and that already trust you. Another reason why email is good is because it can provide a recurring income. This could be from maybe you have like some sort of a paid subscription. Maybe you have some sponsorship. So every time you send out an email, like I was kind of talking about with my newsletter, when you send out an email, you have sponsors, people click on the ad, or you get so much, you get paid so much per thousand views or whatever. There's also like affiliate commissions. That's part of what I showed you up there too. For instance, Beehive is one of my affiliates, or that I'm an affiliate for Beehive, and they pay me X amount of a person's, like I think it's about 50% right now. They'll pay me 50% of a person's subscription to their service, right? So that is how I generate some income. Engagement, when you're on social, this seems a little high. I probably should have double checked that number, but like when you're at the email, if you're doing a really good job, you can get 45% or higher. People are going to open the email. That doesn't happen on social necessarily, because just because they're subscribed to you doesn't mean that they're going to see your video ever again. So again, I think 10% is a little high, but either way, you just have better engagement. The ROI, I already talked about this at the beginning, $36 to $70, per $1 spent. And 36, this number's been there for a while. I mean, I was telling people about this back in, I don't know, 2010 when I was, putting presentations on for Chamber of Commerce and, and other clients. So this has been pretty consistent, $70 too. And even more, if you have if you're selling like a luxury product, or maybe you're in like a manufacturing type of niche, because I would imagine like that egg newsletter I was talking before, I think he charges like $100 a month, right? So, I mean, you're going to get a pretty good ROI on that. It's semi-passive, with the right newsletter. I mean, you don't have to spend like 5-10 hours a week, once you get it set up, once you get into a routine. So, you can spend more obviously if you want to work on it, but once you get it rolling, it can kind of run itself. So it's semi-passive, especially when you start including in some of these affiliate commissions, like I was talking about up here, where they'll pay you a recurring commission. Like once somebody signs up for like Beehive, for instance, they're going to give me 50% up to a year. And there's some that give you like a lifetime commission. So that can also help with the semi-passive stuff. And it's a legacy asset, right? It's flexible. When you have 5-10 hours, you have all kinds of other time to work on other stuff or not do anything, so that's something you can check in. You can check your email list pretty much from anywhere as long as you got an internet connection. It's scalable. I mean, it doesn't get much more scalable than selling it for like $75 million. Not to say that anybody's going to do that or you're going to do that, but like it just shows you there's a lot of upside. And pass downable, that's kind of a kind of a crappy way to put it, but yeah, this is something like you could hand off to your kids, or if they wanted, or you could sell it. I mean, people are buying and selling newsletters and email lists all the time. So it's something that is an asset for you. How do you make money? Well, this is here's a few ways. Kind of talked about them a little bit, but you could do like a paid subscription, $5-10 a month, like I already talked about. I the egg guy, I think his was like 100 or more or something like that. There's I pay for a physical newsletter. I pay $100 a month for a marketing newsletter. So those are some ways you can do it. There's ads and sponsorships. We talked about that. You can get, depending how large your audience is, I mean, you can get up to $1,000 per send, I mean, but you gotta have a good big newsletter. But with mine right now, I've got a small email list. I would say, 600-700. And this is just on this particular project. I have other email newsletters, but like the one I'm talking about, the redefiningretirement.io, I'm going to get I can get up to $10 a send. Not huge, but as the list grows, it'll get bigger and bigger, right? I already talked about affiliate and referral revenue. You can make money from digital products, courses, consulting. I told you how I made some money from building a newsletter for somebody else. I mean, it's a skill that I learned and I put it to use. So that's another way that you can make some money. And, you don't really need a ton, right? I mean, you've got scale here. You can do a lot with it, but it's not that difficult. If you put a little effort into it, to get to a 500 or 2K just a month, you're going to cover some bills, right? And it's going to change your lifestyle a little bit, so it's all doable. And how to start? Well, I was going to lay all the steps on here for you, but then the video would get too long and then you'd probably like start getting bored. So what I did is I threw together, I laid out all the steps and I made a quick checklist for you. And I also included like some AI prompts in there too to make it even faster for you to set up a newsletter. I put that in the description, so just look for the AI newsletter fast track checklist. It's right below here. Go sign up for that, and it'll kind of just walk you through how to get a newsletter started. Pretty simple. And then I don't want to totally like say that it's like the best thing ever because there are always risks. You're not necessarily gonna make money. Maybe you have a bad idea. I don't know. This isn't like going to happen for everybody. And honestly, it does take a year or two for a lot of people to hit meaningful revenue. Like I said, I've been doing this for a year and I've made, a total of like just over 3 grand. I would hope that that's going to, you know, quadruple by this time next year. But it's going to take some time. Sometimes it might go faster. You might hit a vein of gold, or the right niche or something like that and take off. Some of them local ones that I know of, those definitely can take off pretty quickly. But just it's going to take a little bit, right? Anything worthwhile is definitely going to do that. There are some other risks with email newsletters, like email delivery. Like if you're doing a really bad job and you're spamming people, the internet's or the email service providers, ESPs they're called, they're gonna, like Gmail or Outlook or whatever, some of those services, if they think that you're spamming, they're gonna blacklist you, right? You're not gonna end up showing up in people's email box. You're gonna end up in the spam box. So that's a possibility. You just gotta build it right. There's burnout. Like if you do too much and you're trying to do too much, then yeah, it could burn you out. And then there's always taxes, right? We always got to worry about taxes, part of the deal. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe there's a really crafty CPA that out there that can help you with that. So yeah. But either way, it's still lower risk than pretty much any other side hustle. It's low cost, it's scalable, and yeah, it's not a big deal. And honestly, this is something, even if you have a business already, like if you're doing a lawn and gardening business or you're doing a restaurant or any kind of business that you have, an email newsletter is a big deal, right? So start collecting emails and yeah, start building something for the future. This is like a huge asset that you can have. So final steps here, because I don't want to drone on about this all day long, is first of all, sign up to this channel, subscribe right now, like this video, comment below, whatever, if you want to keep learning about this kind of stuff, because I'm going to talk about it a lot more in the future. And be sure to go below the video and then grab that AI newsletter fast track checklist if you want to get started now and start building that asset. And yeah. And last thing, tell me in the comments, what skill or experience could you turn into a newsletter? Let me know below, because maybe I'll have some ideas. Maybe I've got a plan in my head for you, like right out of the gate. So just let me know below and we'll talk about it. But yeah, thanks for watching, and check somewhere. I'm going to have another video for you right here that's going to expand on this idea even more and just kind of talk and blah, blah, blah. I feel like I'm doing like a blooper reel live. Anyway, another video right here. Comment. You know what to do. Talk to you soon.